All right, let me ask you something. You ever wonder why your brain just hates leaving things unfinished? Well, today we're going to dive into this really cool psychological quirk that explains exactly that. This is going to be fun. You know that feeling, right? It's late, you're trying to sleep, but your mind is just stuck on that report you didn't finish. Or how about this? A TV show you only watched half of. It just nags at you, way more than a show you actually finished. If that sounds familiar, trust me, you are not alone. Yeah, that mental itch, those little cognitive splinters, they are not random at all. Whether it's the chorus of a song stuck on a loop, that one email you haven't answered yet, or yeah, that cliffhanger from a show, what you're feeling is a real, well-documented thing. It's called the Zeigarnik Effect. So, where on earth did this idea even come from? Well, the story doesn't start in some high-tech lab. Nope, it all began in a busy cafe back in 1920s Berlin, all thanks to one very observant psychologist. Okay, picture this. It's 1927. A psychologist, her name is Bluma Zeigarnik, is just sitting in a local cafe, and she starts to notice something kind of weird about the waiters. So here's what she saw. The waiters could remember these huge, complex orders from multiple tables, I mean, down to every last detail perfectly. But, and this is the crazy part, only as long as the bill hadn't been paid. The second the customers paid up, poof, the entire order just vanished from their minds. It's like finishing the task just wiped the slate clean. Now, this was just way too interesting to let go, so Zygarnik took this idea from the cafe and brought it into a proper lab at the University of Berlin. She wanted to see if she could actually prove this was a real thing. So she set up an experiment. She gave people a bunch of simple tasks to do, like stringing beads or solving little puzzles. But here's the trick. She interrupted them halfway through about half of the tasks. And the results? They were absolutely staggering. When she asked them later what they remembered, people could recall the tasks they were interrupted from almost 90% of the time. The ones they finished? Way, way lower. It was the interruption itself that was the key. Okay, so what is actually going on in our heads? Why does our brain cling to unfinished business like this? I mean, with such intensity. Let's get into the cognitive science behind it all. So, the core concept here is something psychologists call task-specific tension. It sounds a little technical, but it's pretty simple. When you decide you're going to do something, your brain doesn't just, sit back. It actually creates this kind of mental tension, like a little jolt of cognitive energy that's dedicated only to that goal. And that tension acts like a spotlight, keeping that task right at the front of your mind. Honestly, the best way to think about this is like opening tabs in your computer's web browser. Every single task you start is a new tab opened up in your mind. And just like on your laptop, if you leave way too many of those tabs open, everything starts to slow down. And this creates two totally different states in your mind. On one hand, you've got what's called an open loop. That's your unfinished task. Your brain basically treats it like a low-grade threat that needs to be resolved, and that's what causes those annoying thoughts that pop up at 3 a.m. But when you finish a task, you create a closed loop, and that sends this beautiful signal of resolution to your brain. It releases that tension and frees up all that mental energy. Now, this isn't just some dusty old academic idea. Oh no. This little psychological quirk is being used all around us, all the time, usually to get us to do things without us even noticing. Let's take a look at how. You know it. That cliffhanger at the end of a TV show, that's the Zeigarnik effect in action, creating this intense need to know what happens next. Or how about that notification from an app telling you your profile is almost, but not quite complete? Yeah, that's it too. And of course, who can forget the addictive pull of a video game, whispering, just one more level, one more achievement? It is literally everywhere. Streaming services use autoplay to prey on your need for closure. Social media uses those profile completion bars to get you to hand over more of your data. Video games create this endless stream of open loops with quests and achievements, all designed to keep you hooked. Even that little red notification dot on your work app, that's a tiny nagging open loop just begging to be closed. Okay, so we know what it is and we know how it's being used on us. But what if we could flip the script? Let's talk about how you can actually hack the Zeigarnik effect and use it to your advantage for both getting things done and, for some peace of mind. All right, here is the secret sauce for taming this effect. Some really cool research found that you don't actually have to finish the task to get that sweet relief. All you have to do is make a concrete plan to finish it. That's it. Just making a plan is enough to trick your brain into thinking the threat is handled and to release all that tension. So how do we actually use this? First off, if you're procrastinating on something, just start it for like 5 minutes. That's it. This intentionally creates that productive Zeigarnik tension and it'll pull you back to finish it later. Writers have known about this for ages. They'll often stop mid-sentence just to make it super easy to jump back in the next day. And for those huge, overwhelming projects, break them down into tiny little tasks. That way, you give yourself a whole series of satisfying mini finishes along the way. And what about managing all the anxiety that comes with these open loops? Before you go to sleep, do a brain dump. This is a huge idea in productivity, by the way. Just write down every single nagging thought. Getting it out of your head and onto paper tells your brain, hey, it's captured, you can let it go now. Also, live by the 2-minute rule. If a task takes less than 2 minutes, just do it right now. Don't even let it become an open tab. And finally, at the end of the day, take a minute to schedule tomorrow's unfinished tasks. This creates this powerful sense of artificial closure. And here's a good rule of thumb to keep in mind. Just be mindful of your cognitive load. Our brains really aren't built to juggle dozens of open loops at once. So try to keep your number of active, unfinished tasks to around, say, 5 to 7 at any one time. This really helps stop you from feeling completely overwhelmed. So there you have it, the Zeigarnik Effect. All the way from a cafe in Berlin to our crazy digital lives today. It's not a bug, it's a feature. It's just how our brains are wired to get stuff done. And now that you understand it, you can turn that annoying mental itch from a source of stress into a powerful tool for focus and motivation. So that just leaves one question. What open loop are you going to close first?